Hey guys, welcome back to my channel DZ Can Toys, where I review and share my thoughts on some of my favorite toy releases. Hope all of you guys are doing well. Remember to support the channel by liking the video and subscribing. Also, make sure you stay to the end of the video to check out some cool pictures that I will be taking with today's figure. Today we're going to be doing a review and unboxing on Figma 454 Berserker Jeanne d'Arc outer version. Typical to the Figma releases, we have the window in front to show the figure itself and box art all around. Let's get this unboxing started and see what this figure is all about. Here we have a look of Jeanne outer right out of the box. I'm sure many of you guys who collect figures probably have one or two Figma in your collections already, but a little bit of a background on the Figma line. There are a series of Japanese action figure line produced by Max Factory and distributed by Good Smile Company. They usually focus on creating highly articulated hand-sized figures with a focus on popular anime characters. So sometimes they also do collaborations with various video games such as Metroid or Zelda. In rare occasions, they also base their figures on real-life people, such as Michael Jackson in his Thriller video. The figure we have in front of us, in typical Figma fashion, is faithfully recreated to her in-game counterpart in the popular game Fate Grand Order. For those of you who don't know, Fate Grand Order is a free-to-play Japanese role-playing mobile game developed by Delightworks using Unity and published by Aniplex. So the game is based on Type Moon's popular Fate Stay Night franchise. In the game Fate Grand Order, Jeanne actually has many different forms, maybe too many to count, and this one is based off her berserker form. This one is extremely cool in my opinion, as she uses 3 katanas to slay her opponents down. It almost reminds me of Zoro from the One Piece series, using his 3-sword style. In terms of aesthetics, Jeanne outer is faithfully represented just like her in-game counterpart. This version of Jeanne outer is supposed to be a summer version, hence why she is wearing a bikini with a badass black-red pattern jacket. Along with her long flowing hair, the different red patterns, the red stocking, and even up to the nail polish, the paintwork is very well done on this figure. I must mention though, a minor gripe about the paintwork is, if you look closely at the color of this figure, especially the red part, you'll notice a minor paint bleeding. You'll only see it if you look closely. From far away, you cannot tell. But other than that, overall, in this release, Figma did a very good job on the paintwork. I know many of you guys who collect the Figma line may have got 1 or 2 Figma in the past that have less than ideal paintwork on them. That goes the same for me, but at least for this release, overall the paint is quite decent for its size and price, at least this figure that I have in front of me. Faithful representation and decent paint job aside, the Figma line does have its negative, and in Jeanne outer it is no different. What I mean by that is the joint system. Many of you guys who are long-term Figma collectors know that the Figma joints can be quite obvious in certain circumstances. Depending how you pose the figure and the color separation between the parts, the joints can be quite an eyesore. It is to my knowledge that many of you anime enthusiasts out there may be hesitant to collect the Figma line due to its joints and prefer statues instead. And I do agree with you guys, statues definitely look better and deal with the joint problems better, but they are not articulated. So if you want an articulated representation of your favorite anime or game character, Figma is still the way to go. In terms of Figma joints though, I do wish Max Factory can one day change the system or improve on their joint system so the joints are less obvious and look more natural to the eyes. Let's hope that day comes sooner than later. In terms of accessories, the Figma line is usually very generous, and this release of Jeanne outer berserker is no different. We have 8 sets of extra hands besides the 2 closing fists attached to the figure itself. These hands include 2 pointing fingers, 2 open palms, 2 gripping palms, and 2 sword holding hands. We also have 2 extra expression faceplates. In terms of weapon, we have 3 swords. While 2 swords have red handles, they differ in size with each other, with one being longer than the other. We also have a sword with a black handle. This one is extra special because it has a very stylish sword guard, different from the other 2, and it also has a stylish carving on the katana blade itself. We also have your typical Figma stand included in this release, as well as the Figma accessory bag to store your accessories when you're not using them. In terms of articulation, Jeanne has your standard Figma body, so the articulation should be familiar to those of you guys who have owned the Figma before. The head rotates but not a full 360 due to the color design. While Jeanne Alter have this crazy hair design, it doesn't really hinder the head articulation as much as you think it would, because the headpiece and the bottom hairpiece are actually 2 separate pieces and detached, so they can move on their own individually. The arms will go up about this far. And this is the max elbow bend. Wrist also rotate 360. Upper torso rotates front and back, side to side. Lower torso also front and back, side to side. Leg articulation is on a ball joint, although when you move it back, it is hindered by the sword holder on her waist. It can move up to the side about this far as well. Knee articulation bends about this far, almost a full 90. Ankle is on a ball joint, side to side, front and back. As I mentioned earlier, the hair is on a ball joint, so this crazy anime hair, you can move it however you like as well. I just thought it's funny you can move the hair like this. Lastly, the sword holder can rotate on a ball joint, and the back 2 swords is also on a ball joint system with a hinge, so you can flip it up and down, rotate side to side. Alright, so final verdicts on the figure. Overall, Jeanne Alter is another great release in the Figma line. If you're interested in Jeanne Alter as a character, definitely consider picking this figure up, as she is a great representation of how she looks in the game, especially if you're a fan of her in this super badass berserker class outfit, wielding the 3 katanas. Of course, the Figma Jeanne Alter is not without its negatives. For one, it shares the same Figma joint system among many other Figmas, so many of you guys may not like the Figma joint system due to its looks. But for me, in exchange for great articulation and great posability, I think it is worth the trade-off. And also, depending on how you pose the figure, the joints can be more natural and look less obvious. Other than that, despite the decent paint job, I noticed some minor paint bleeding on the neck collar part for my figure, but maybe this is just my figure. So for you guys out there who are grabbing this figure or already have this figure, maybe you guys don't have this issue. So in conclusion, Jeanne Alter Berserker is another great release in the Figma line. I really enjoy this figure as I'm a big fan of the Fate series, and Jeanne is one of my favorite characters in the series. Here's a quick comparison with some of the other action figure series lines, which are similar sized. Revotech Iron Man, Mafex John Wick, SH Figure Arts Dragon Ball Mr. Hercules. What about you guys? What do you guys think about this Figma release? And what do you guys think about the Figma line in general? Let me know down in the comments below. And also remember to support the channel by liking the video and subscribing. I would really appreciate that. As always, stay young at heart, my friends, and I'm out.